Dionne Warwick, at 83 years old, has once again found herself grappling with an unimaginable loss. Her grief this time stems from the passing of her beloved aunt Cissy Houston, a figure who has been central not only to her personal life but also to the fabric of their musical legacy. On Tuesday, October 8, just one day after Cissy's death at the age of 91, Warwick took to social media, specifically X, formerly Twitter, to share a deeply personal message. Cissy, who passed away peacefully at her home in Newark, New Jersey, had been battling Alzheimer's disease and was under hospice care at the time of her passing. Warwick's statement, brief yet poignant, reflected both the depth of her sadness and her sense of peace, knowing that her aunt had left this world in a state of tranquility. "I'm so deeply saddened, however, knowing that my Aunt Cissy died peacefully and that she is in a much better place is a consolation and comfort to me," Warwick wrote in her heartfelt message. These words, though simple, carried with them the weight of a lifetime of shared memories, love, and loss. Warwick, with her typical grace, extended gratitude to the countless people who had reached out in the wake of Cissy's passing. "I have seen your messages of condolences. On behalf of my family, thank you." It is essential to understand that Cissy Houston was much more than just an aunt to Warwick. Their relationship was deeply rooted in family and shared musical heritage. Both Cissy and Warwick began their illustrious careers as singers in their family gospel group, the Drinkard Singers, a group that was expertly managed by Warwick's mother, Lee Drinkard, who happened to be Cissy's sister. Music, faith, and family were the cornerstones of their upbringing, and these elements shaped both women's lives in ways that transcended their time in the spotlight. In a candid interview with People in 2022, Warwick offered a rare glimpse into her relationship with her aunt, reflecting on the closeness they shared. "I called her Aunt Cissy growing up," Warwick revealed, "but there was more to the dynamic than the typical aunt-niece relationship. Because we were so close in age, I always looked at her as an older sister," she said, illustrating just how unique their bond was. Closeness in their ages, combined with their mutual love of music, forged a relationship that was both familial and profoundly personal. Warwick further reflected on the pure joy that singing together brought to their family. "It was heaven when we all sang together," she recalled with warmth. This shared joy of music was not just a familial pastime but a legacy that would span generations, eventually culminating in the rise of Cissy's daughter, Whitney Houston, one of the greatest voices of all time. When Warwick spoke of Cissy, it wasn't just as a family member but as a musical force in her own right. Warwick marveled at her aunt's exceptional talent, describing her voice as nothing short of incredible. The sheer power and emotion in Cissy's voice were undeniable and set her apart from many others in the music industry. But this gift of song didn't stop with Cissy. It was a trait passed down to her daughter Whitney, whose iconic voice would come to define an era. "Whitney came up exactly the way we all did, in the church choir," Warwick explained, pointing out the strong spiritual and musical roots that were integral to their family's identity. For the Houston family, singing wasn't just a career, it was a calling, a destiny. Warwick's words, rich with reflection, hinted at the belief that Whitney's journey as a singer was predestined. "It was just preordained she was going to sing," Warwick stated. "Her destiny was as was the rest of the family. As if God pointed a finger at us and said, 'Let them vocal cords do what they got to do.'" This deep connection between music, faith, and family ran through every aspect of their lives. The Houston and Warwick families were intertwined not only by blood but by a shared understanding that their voices were gifts, meant to uplift and inspire. And while the world came to know Whitney as a global superstar, for Dionne and Cissy, Whitney was simply family, another link in the long chain of musical greatness that began with the Drinkard Singers. The year following Whitney's tragic death in 2012, Cissy decided to pen a memoir titled Remembering Whitney, a deeply personal account of her daughter's life and legacy. Dionne Warwick, ever supportive of her family, wrote the foreword to the book, offering her own reflections on both Whitney and Cissy. In her foreword, Warwick shared a touching insight into her relationship with her aunt, capturing both the strength and the warmth that defined Cissy. "Cissy might have felt like an older sister to us, but she never let us forget she was our aunt. She was a strong young woman then, and she is a strong, loving woman now," Warwick wrote. These words, filled with admiration and respect, paint a picture of a woman who was both nurturing and steadfast, a rock for her family through the highs and the lows. Warwick's description of her aunt as strong is telling, as Cissy's life was one marked by both triumph and tragedy. From her success as a singer to the heartbreaking loss of her daughter Whitney and granddaughter Bobby Christina, Cissy had endured more than most, yet remained a pillar of strength for her family. In remembering Whitney, Cissy expressed her gratitude to Warwick, thanking her for the support she had offered over the years. This acknowledgement speaks to the deep bond that existed between them, a bond that was as much about love as it was about mutual respect. When Cissy's death was announced, it was her daughter-in-law, Pat Houston, who shared the news with the public. In a moving statement, Pat reflected on the significance of Cissy's life, both to her family and to the wider world. "Mother Cissy has been a strong and towering figure in our lives," the statement began. The choice of the word towering was deliberate, for Cissy was indeed a giant in the world of music, as well as in the lives of those who knew her personally. A woman of deep faith and conviction who cared greatly about family, ministry, and community, the statement continued, offering a glimpse into the values that Cissy held dear throughout her life. These values were not only evident in her music but also in the way she lived her life, always with a focus on giving back, whether through her ministry or her support of her family. Cissy's career, which spanned more than 7 decades, was nothing short of remarkable. Her contributions to music and popular culture were immense, and she remained a force to be reckoned with, even as she aged. Her more than 7-decade career in music and entertainment will remain at the forefront of our hearts, Pat Houston's statement emphasized, highlighting just how deeply Cissy's work had impacted those around her. But it wasn't just her musical achievements that defined Cissy Houston. It was the way she carried herself, the lessons she imparted, and the unwavering love she had for her family. Her contributions to popular music and culture are unparalleled, the statement rightly pointed out, but it was the next line that truly captured the essence of who Cissy was. "We are blessed and grateful that God allowed her to spend so many years with us, and we are thankful for all the many valuable life lessons that she taught us." These lessons, passed down through generations, are perhaps Cissy's greatest legacy. She taught her family the importance of faith, resilience, and love, values that have carried them through some of the most difficult moments in their lives. And as the family now grieves the loss of their matriarch, they take comfort in the knowledge that she is finally at rest, reunited with her beloved daughter Whitney and granddaughter Bobby Christina. Passing of Cissy Houston marks the end of an era for the Warwick and Houston families, but her influence will continue to be felt for generations to come. For Dionne Warwick, the loss of her aunt is deeply personal, yet she remains steadfast, knowing that Cissy is now in a better place. In her final message, Warwick extended not only her gratitude to those who had offered condolences but also a reminder of the strength and unity that have always defined her family. In these moments of grief, Warwick's words echo with a sense of peace, faith, and an enduring connection to the legacy that Cissy Houston leaves behind.